Hello everybody, my name is Nick Wroblewski. Thank you all for coming out today and allowing me to share this presentation with you. We're going to talk a little bit today about the Wounded Warriors Project, and this is a project and a foundation that I feel very strongly about, and I'd like to maybe convince you guys to get involved in helping out with this project. There's a couple different ways you're going to be able to help out, and every little bit counts, so I just want you guys to remember that. And let's get on with the presentation, guys. So I would like to talk a little bit about our United States veterans. So our veterans obviously gave up a lot for this country. A lot of them have been through some rough times, especially obviously with like Vietnam War and some of the other wars that have been more recent. A lot of them have lost friends, they've lost limbs, they've lost a lot of stuff, so they're sacrificing a lot for us. I want you guys to remember that, because it's, as you guys know, the military is not typically the most high-paying job out there. A lot of these veterans went in because they want to help our country and they want to serve our country, and I think that they deserve our help when they need it most, just like they helped us when we needed it most. So I want you guys to remember that, and I have an easy way that you guys will be able to help out these veterans today. You could start today helping them out. They really need it. So it's something that I feel very strongly about. So I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about this gentleman here. His name is Mark Lally. So Mark Lally enlisted in the Air Force in 2002. He was only 17 years old when he did enlist. He was motivated to join after 9/11 happened, and so he was a door gunner on a UH-60, which is an aircraft that the Air Force uses in combat, and he was deployed in Iraq. So while he was deployed in Iraq in 2007, he had an aircraft malfunction, and unfortunately there was 11 people on the aircraft, and the aircraft ended up going down, and only 5 of the 11 survived. So 6 of his friends that he was with unfortunately lost their lives that day. So he was one of the 5 that survived, but unfortunately he suffered from traumatic brain injury and over 24 broken bones. So just think about trying to get yourself back into normal everyday life after breaking 24 bones and going through a brain injury. He also suffers from short-time memory loss and paralysis. So this is just one small example of the thousands and thousands and thousands of veterans who've gone through things just like Mark Lally. And I wanted to share this story with you guys today so that it might help you understand how much these amazing people actually really need our help. It's something that I've, like I said earlier, feel very strongly about. And the good news, so the bad news is that he went through all this, and the good news is that Mark Lally is now living a life every single day. He's healthy and he's happy, and that's mostly due to the Wounded Warriors Project. The Wounded Warriors Project picked Mark up after his unfortunate events with the military, and they were able to get him back on his feet. And after reading Mark Lally's story, I was really touched, because he said the biggest thing that helped him was just having the community of other veterans that were there to help him through the times, and it made him feel as if he was part of something bigger, even after he obviously had to retire from the military after the accident. So to me, it's a really touching story, so I just wanted to share that with you guys today, so that maybe that will help you understand that's just one out of thousands and thousands of people who really need your help. So I wanted to talk a little bit about PTSD today as well. This is definitely a big one for veterans, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of people. Probably you might have people that you even know that maybe went through this PTSD, which stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. So, a study done by the Center for Military Health Policy research team shows that PTSD prevalence among Operation Enduring Freedom service members was 13.8%. So Operation Enduring Freedom was one of the recent operations that our military had done. So 13.8% of the veterans coming out of that suffered from PTSD. And looking at the statistics, it's surprising to see that percentage is down quite a bit. Back after the Vietnam War, it was up to 30% PTSD rates, and I think that's largely helped from the Wounded Warriors Project. The Wounded Warriors Project helps get these people back on their feet. So over time, we're making great progress, and I think we can continue that if we're all ready to help out and help out some of these veterans who are going through this. It's a really crippling thing to have, and it's something that these people can't get through by themselves, so they really need the help. So I want to talk a little bit about suicide rates. It's something that most people, obviously don't like to bring up, but it's something that's very important because it shows the level of stress that these veterans have been through, and they're still going through even after they're out of the war. So according to the VA Suicide Prevention Program, even though veterans only accounted for 8.5% of the United States population, they accounted for 18% of total deaths. So that's 18%, that's almost a quarter of the deaths in the whole country, although they're only less than 10% of the actual population, and that is a really shocking statistic. In 2010, veterans also accounted for 22% of all deaths from suicide. So 22% of deaths from all suicide. A lot of this has to do, it intertwines with the PTSD, because PTSD is so crippling. Sometimes these veterans can't deal with the stress, and they unfortunately take their lives because it's easier than dealing with the stress. So they really need somebody by their sides, or they really need a lot of people by their sides to really help them out through these hard times. It's really important, and it's something that I feel everybody should really think about contributing to, whether that be contributing financial, or whether it be actually going and donating some of your time to this project. So we have two different types of disabilities that I want to talk about today. The ACS disabilities and the CS disabilities. So ACS disabilities are disabilities that service members, prior service members, or current service members, they obtain, but not necessarily through their service. So it could be anything from hearing, vision, cognitive, any of these types of things they could inherit, but it doesn't mean it's actually technically caused from their service. So SC disabilities are actually disabilities that people actually inherit from their service. It stands for service contract disabilities. So they inherit these disabilities from the service that they have done. So it's really important that we look at these different disabilities and see how many problems we're actually having with them, because it shows us what we need to do in the future. So as far as disabilities go, just a couple statistics, something to think about. So nearly 30% of 12 million veterans ages 21 to 64 reported having disability. So 12% of them reported having an SC disability, which, if you remember, an SC is one that they had inherited from their service contract in the military. 10.5 reporting an ASC disability, which is one that doesn't technically come from their contract, but it's something that may have been pre-existing or something that came on after they're out of the service. And 7% reporting both an ASC and an SC, which these percentages are pretty high. I mean, 30%, over a quarter, almost a third of the 12 million veterans. So that, you know, maybe 4 million, a little less than 4 million of them reported having a disability between the ages of 21 and 64. So the problem with this is a lot of these veterans, when they come out of the service, they actually have hard times finding work because it's with their disabilities, it could stop them from getting certain jobs. And the good thing about the Wounded Warriors Project is that it really helps them find the jobs that they're going to be able to complete, even with these disabilities. And it's really important to them because everybody needs a purpose in life. And if you can't find work, if you can't find something you enjoy, you're never going to be happy. So the Wounded Warriors Project helps set up these veterans with jobs that they're going to be able to complete. They have various application processes that the veterans can go through, and it'll help them get them set up with something. So that's really important. So lastly, I just wanted to show you this little graph. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. If you can't, you can come up and check it out a little closer. But this is injuries percentages among U.S. veterans. So just to give you an idea, we have PTSD here. We talked about that. 46%. Anxiety rates, 45%. Depression, 42%. Hearing